Welcome to the Reading Writing Corner. I am your host, Leanne, and I want to say it looks so good to see you again. And if this is your first time, welcome, beautiful. I'm hoping you're having a great day, or if you're a man, handsome, or if you're a person who wants to be handsome or beautiful of the opposite gender, you go ahead and be that, because that's the way you feel, and that's how you should always feel. This is the non-spoiler review for Breaker's Reef by Terry Blackstock. This is part of a series called Cape Refuge, and it's the last book in the series. So, Cape Refuge is a small town where everyone knows everyone. Nothing major happens in the community. Murder and mystery continue. And the last book in the series, which is what made me read it. Because where's Cade and Blair's happily ever after? Morgan having a baby. Morgan having a baby. The blurb. A famous, mysterious writer has just moved to Cape Refuge when a teenage girl is found murdered. Sheila Karasu, ex-con, mother to Sadie and Caleb, resident of Hanover House, is working for the writer when she discovers a scene in one of his novels matches the crime scene. When Police Chief Cade and Blair Owens discover a second dead teenager mirroring a murder in another of the eccentric writer's books, Cade is drawn into a web of trickery and deceit. Evidence turns up in Cade's own truck, and suddenly he becomes the number one suspect. Cade tries to clear his name, but when 18-year-old Sadie Carasso disappears, tensions mount to a fever pitch. Can Cade find the real killer before Sadie winds up dead? Is the novelist a demented killer or a hapless victim? And what does Sadie's own mother have to do with the crimes? Secrets are uncovered, while lessons are learned about the sins of the father being visited upon his children. Will the consequences of Sheila's life be fatal? Or is there redemption and mercy for her and her children? Chief Matthew Cade rarely considered another line of work, but news of the dead teenage girl made him long for a job as an accountant or electrician, some benign vocation that didn't require him to look into the eyes of grieving parents. When you are the suspect again, all you can do is carry out the law to the best of your abilities. Sadie works for Blair now, and her mother is trying to turn her life around, be a good parent to her children. When murders start happening in Cape Refuge again, no one understands why or who is doing it. But they still all point their fingers at Chief Cade. Why do they think he's a murderer when he's never murdered anybody in his life? I don't understand it. The setup of the characters was good, along with the way they struggled with their thoughts and feelings, especially Sheila. She's definitely turned things around, becoming a better mother than what she was before. The townspeople are still dumb, but I don't care what you say. They're still dumb. I mean, they don't use logic, and I'm not sure. A lot of humans don't use logic, I guess you could say. There's some humans out there who's just dumb too, I guess, in a way. The characters reacted to this situation like any normal human would when confronted with certain scenarios. I mean, like, if I've been pointed for being a murderer twice, I would do everything in my power to clear my name. Because, hello, I ain't no murderer. I mean, unless you count the characters in my novels that will maybe one day make it to the world for you to read about how I murder characters that don't exist in real life, you know? The genre is, of course, Christian mystery. It's a Christian thriller. This one really takes you for a ride. It takes you for a ride, and the ride is good, but the what's happening is bad. Did this live up to my expectations? Yes, it was a good mystery and a good kidnapping. Yes, kidnapping happens in this. Sorry. I didn't mean to spoil that for you. But I mean, how else are people being murdered? Which character did I relate to the most? Sadie, because she had a long-lost sister. I had two of them. And a long-lost aunt. Now, somewhere along the way, you just think about what was more important, the characters or the plot. The characters move the plot. Like I'm beginning to see that Terry Blackstock does with all of her characters in books. There are 5 POVs in this story, and it did not affect my reading at all. So, before I end this non-spoiler review and move on to the spoiler part, should you go and read this series? Yes, if you like Christian mystery / thrillers. Yeah, read it. I think it's a good one. Especially the ending. The ending was much better than normal. In the first few chapters, you meet the main characters, the side characters, important recurring characters. Matt Fraser was only there by accident. He did not unalive anyone and was trying to stop Nate, a friend of his. Matt Fraser was accidentally put into a situation of accomplice, and he didn't like it at all. But he was too afraid of Nate to come forward. Nate Morris. He alive a young teenager named Jamie Maddox. She had kidnapped Amelia Rourke and Sadie Curacao, and almost unalived Sheila Curacao. He was actually unalived himself by Amelia Rourke. Scott Crown found a young girl's body in the river. Joe McCormick's nephew. Emily Lawrence was murdered by Nate Morris, I believe. Yeah, I think so, because she was there with her friend. No, Jamie was her friend. Alan and Mary Lawrence were parents to Emily, and he had to tell it. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, Nate Morris did it. Parents to Emily. You have Amelia Rourke. She went to Cape Refuge to find her birth mother, Sheila Curacao, with her best friend Jamie. Jamie Maddox, best friend to Amelia, was killed by Matt Fraser. Tina, she was a druggie. She tried to get Amelia and Jamie and Sadie to leave because of the dangers that were around her. She knew how dangerous where she lived was, as well as how dangerous Nate was. Marcus Gibson was the author whose books were being used to commit crimes, because apparently Nate Morris did that type of stuff. Wayne Clary, Jonathan and Morgan's son. He was born towards the end of the book, so yay! Wayne. Hopefully you're nothing like your dick of a grandfather. The POVs in this story were Cade, Blair, Sadie, Sheila, and Amelia. My favorite character was Amelia. She was only trying to connect to her birth family. She just wanted to meet her birth family. She wasn't doing anything wrong. She didn't want to abandon her parents either. She just wanted to know more about her birth family. And then she gets a mother, a sister, and a brother, along with her parents who've raised her. So she gets a lot more family, and it's very happy for her. My most disliked character was Matt Fraser. He could have thrown Nate under the bus for the murder of Emily, so that way Jamie would not have died, and Amelia, Sadie, and Sheila would never have been in danger. Like, he could have told the truth, but he didn't. And because he didn't tell the truth, Jamie, Amelia, and Sadie were all kidnapped. Jamie was murdered, Sadie was injured, and Sheila was severely injured, and Amelia became a murderer because even though it was self-defense, she still killed Nate to protect her family. It was told in chronological order with very appropriate language for a Christian book. It had good foreshadowing and suspense. And within it, the backgrounds for the characters were explained enough for one to understand and grasp their motivations and what made them tick and why they did what they did. The title of the book meant where the first body was found. Breaker's Reef was a place in the Cape Refuge series world, and it's where the first one was found. In a cave system that goes underwater, where Cade was trying to propose to Blair, but it failed. Of course, not Emily's body, but Jamie's body was found. So, actually the second. The cover of the book meant the area where the Breaker's Reef was situated. Of course, you could barely see it. It's more blurred in the background than anything. What stood out as memorable was the cleverness of the accomplice, Matt Fraser. He did a lot of stuff. It was very clever. Sure, he got slapped with accomplice stuff for helping, but he actually avoided he avoided getting them killed, because he at first made it to where Nate just kidnapped the girls instead of killing them, and he wasn't there when Jamie was murdered, but he tried to convince Nate several times to release them, to just not harm them. My favorite passage from the story is, but forever he would remember the sight of her in flowing white, that pure white veil covering her shoulders, framing her in light. Kane's vision of Blair on their wedding day. Because, yeah, they get married! Their happily ever after happens! The para happens! My favorite quote, because I'm your sister. Amelia asked why Sadie did what she did, why she went looking for her, why she went searching for her, why she left clues behind that their mother found out. And it was simply because they're sisters, and sisters should stick together. And I had to learn less sisters. We should all stick together because we're sisters and we have the same parent, at least one. What I thought about the ending of the book. Kate and Blair got married. Yay, I'm so happy. Sadie and her sister were united along with Sheila and Caleb. Yay, I'm so happy. And Matt Fraser was caught because they were attending Cade's and Blair's wedding. And Amelia was like, that's the man who helped kidnap us. And it was Matt Fraser, who was actually Sadie's attempted boyfriend and classmate. The weirdest stuff. It all ties in. What did this book remind me of? The other books in the Terry Blackstock series that I've read. I mean, I guess some of it could be chalked up to Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, but his is just straight up mystery. This book is part of a series called Cape Refugee. It's a total of 4 books, and this was the last one. And I will give this one a 5 because it was really good suspense. Like, you didn't know who was the murderer at first, and you didn't know who to believe, who to trust, what was going on, why things were happening. And as things were starting to be pieced together slowly, it was a lot of suspense and trials and stuff for it. I will see you next illusion.